Hey there, it's Rebecca from the Barefoot Mommy. I wanted to chat about a struggle that I know a lot of us parents who are also socially minded, justice-oriented people struggle with, and that's how to fit in being a parent, possibly a career on top of that, with taking action on causes that we care about and how to, make our kids part of this. So I wanted to share with you a little bit of my story because I definitely know and feel where you are coming from. So for the first 10 years of my ministry, as soon as I finished with graduate school, I was a community organizer. I started a social justice organization on worker rights issues. And if you asked anyone, tell me something about Rebecca, that's probably what they would say. It was really my identity. It was how other people saw me. And social justice was just built into every day. I didn't even have to think about that. Well, then I became a mom. And if you're a parent, you know a lot of things change when you become a parent. And I just felt like I couldn't focus on my son in the way that I wanted to, and being there, being present for him. And so I took a leave from ministry. I resigned from my position with that organization that in a way had been my baby. And for the most part was home with my son. And for the first few years, for the most part, I really liked that. But I would have this nagging question about, would I ever get back to a place where I really felt like I was regularly, taking action on things and living out my values and that kind of thing. And I started having these questions about, like, how do I talk to a kid about this? And so, we would do things together. We would read books. We'd have conversations. But around the time that he was 4, I really reached a turning point. I think it was partly because of the age that he was at. We were starting to be able to have some interesting conversations. But it was also because of the 2016 election and just seeing things so drastically change. And something that I really care about are the rights of immigrants. And so I remember being at this immigrant rights march that happened pretty soon after President Trump was inaugurated. And there were so many people there, people who I wasn't used to necessarily seeing at activist events, and they were there with their kids. And I thought, this is something that other people want to figure out how to do with their children. It's something I want to figure out how to do better with my son. But I can be a resource for parents because I know how to win campaigns and help ordinary people take action. And I'm pretty sure I can probably figure out how to help people do that with their kids. And so I went home and I started thinking specifically with our son how to do that at 4.5. And we pulled out a book called Mama's Nightingale, which I highly recommend. It's a story of a Haitian family whose mother gets taken to immigration detention, and she and her daughter are keeping in touch with each other. And so we talked about what it means not to have the right papers and what can happen when that's the case, and that there were people just like this character right here in our community. And then from there we went on, and he actually at 4.5 he could sign his name. So I made up a little picture he could color, and we talked about it. He colored a picture and signed his name. I showed him how to write something really basic. I think it was something like "Keep Families Together." And we sent it off to our member of Congress. And that day was really the day that I thought, this is important. And I started really making justice stuff with kids a focus of my blog, and thinking about how I can be there for you as parents who are also struggling with this. So I say all that just to say, if you feel like you're a little bit lost in the weeds right now, you'll figure this out. You're going to find ways that if you maybe used to be an activist in your pre-kid days and you don't have time to do the things you did before, there are ways to still be an activist with your family. There are ways to talk about this with your kids. There are ways you can take action even if maybe you can't get out of the house much. So stick with me. I'm going to show you how to do that. And I would love to hear about your experiences of trying to juggle passion for justice with kids. Tell me what your struggles are. I'd love to know.